Hi, my name's Emily Day and I'm a slow fashion designer and modern artisan. And my business is Day Studios. So a little bit about myself. I was recently part of the Modern Artisan programme, which was a programme with the Princess Foundation and Yoox Net-a-Porter, the online luxury retailer. And so the whole programme was for 10 months and it involved us starting at the design side of the process of making clothes all the way through to actually making them ourselves. So it was an international cohort. There was 4 graduates from Britain and 4 from Italy. So I was selected as one of 4 from a few hundred applicants. And so it started by, we started in London and that's where we designed the collection, and then we moved to Dumfries House, which is the Prince's Foundation headquarters in Scotland, and then that's when we actually made the collection ourselves, and it'll be released in November this year. But the whole idea is it was to do with sustainability, like making sure that you kind of go back to the roots of how clothes began, because fast fashion now has become such a awful thing that it's creating so much waste in the world. And so it's to do something about it, really. So we were part of the pre-COP26 event last year in Milan. And we also met His Royal Highness a few times. And so, yeah, so part of, before I actually did the Modern Artisan programme, I did a graduate internship with Teesside University in Mima, and I was part of helping the Chemical City exhibition, which showed last year and the beginning of this year at Mima. And so my side of it was to basically find out all about all the new innovative fabrics that there is now. So there's human-made fabrics, such as using Tencel, for example, is actually made from wood pulp, and it's a new fabric that's being developed, and it's to use instead of the likes of cotton or silk, which can obviously be very harmful to not only the planet because of the water consumption, but also silkworms when we use silk. So I learned a lot about learning new ways of creating fabrics, and it's actually been nominated for an award for Best Exhibition at the Northeast Culture Awards, which will be happening soon, so fingers crossed. And also, as part of the Modern Artisan programme, I actually went to Venice, to the Homo Faber, which I was there on behalf of Net-a-Porter and in last year's collection. And so this was really emphasising all of the handcrafted things that we can make. So I was actually in a room with the likes of Cartier and Dolce & Gabbana, and a lot more very interesting people. Hermes scarves were there, and it was basically just seeing all of the different incredible ways that things are made. But yeah, that was such a good experience, being able to speak to all the different people, all the highly skilled craftsmen people. Really interesting, really helpful, especially for my own business. So my business is Day Studios, and it is a slow fashion sustainable brand for the modern nomad striving for style. We offer stylish handcrafted garments that become wardrobe staples, because we don't need fast fashion as long as we have style. So the problem with the fashion industry these days is that fast fashion has really overtook everything, and it's got so many problems with it. Just a couple here. So 80 billion garments are produced each year. 400% more clothes are produced now compared to 20 years ago. And so that's something that it's a worldwide issue, and I can't single-handedly change that. But if I can do something to help, then of course that's what I want to do, especially if it's allowing me to do my passion as well at the same time. So the big issue is that clothes are getting a lot cheaper, which can only mean that it's a reduction of the production cost. It's people think that they're buying something, but they don't for a good price, but they don't realise the impact that that's having on the whole supply chain behind that. So there is huge consequences to the planet, to people's health, to garment workers' lives. So slow fashion, which is something that I am proud to be part of, it's not just becoming a trend that people think might pass away, pass or fade on or move on or whatever. It's becoming a necessity. It's something that we have to move this way forward because there's no alternative. But with that as well, obviously running a small sustainable brand also has its own challenges because there's different problems that come with that. So I've whittled it down to three main problems with sustainable brands, to consumer education, consumer expectations, and design phase strategy. So, for example, design phase strategy is basically that in order for an item or a garment to be sustainable, it has to be sustainable from the beginning of the supply chain. Not, you can't design something and then think about it later. It has to be a part of the whole process, the whole journey of the garment. And I'm able to have experienced that. I've done a whole program where we've looked at sustainability from the get-go. So in terms of that challenge, I feel like I'm more than capable of being able to overcome that. So yes, so here we go. Design phase strategy. I've trained to a royal standard, and consumer education. So now, a lot of the time, people believe that sustainable fashion isn't appealing. It's not nice. It's kind of expensive, but it's not necessarily attractive. So I aim to actually get rid of those preconceptions because it can be beautiful, it can be stylish, it can be trendy, and I think timeless designs are the way forward because they'll allow you to keep it in your wardrobe forever, basically. And also another problem is that it's difficult. If you're already a brand, it's difficult to then implement change and become more sustainable. But I'm starting my brand from the beginning, with as many ethical processes, all these different reasons and all these different ways of being sustainable that I'm going to implement from the beginning and start as I mean to go on. So these are just some different ways of being sustainable, and Day Studios is going to try and imply all of them, if not as many as possible. And so there's just a graph showing the slow fashion process. So it has to go from the design through to production and then consumption straight to the consumer. And also another challenge within sustainable fashion is obviously that prices are a lot higher because, of course, people are actually being paid a fair wage, and we're using the best quality fabrics. So a challenge can be affordability in this. So I've thought about using Klarna just as a way of, so that people don't have to miss out on having high quality fashion or ethical fashion. They can split the cost into 3 different installments. So a bit of market research. I've got a small website at the moment, and just to show people who I am, I'm not actually trading at the moment, but here's just some design ideas just so you can see more the stylish side of the whole process. And so these are just some of my initial designs. As I say, everything's going to be lovingly handmade in the northeast, and it's made to be worn and worn again. each garment has a nod to the past decades, because fashion wasn't important as long as you had style. And I've carried out a few just questionnaires, getting a basic understanding of what my current followers that I have on my page would be used to. So I can go through this more in my business plan, but just asking some different questions based on sustainable fashion, luxury fashion, what makes you believe you're buying quality. I've got quite a lot of feedback from that. So the plan is to sell direct to the consumer. So I have my website to support all of the sales, and also social media platforms to support the sales and also promote all areas of the whole business. And as I've mentioned previously, using Klarna as an alternative payment option. Speaking of social media, this is currently my Instagram page. I'm also at the beginning of setting up TikTok pages just to show behind the scenes of how things are made, especially because I think people don't have that education either. I'm part of the industry, so I know probably more than enough things about the industry and whatnot, but a lot of people don't. And so I really want to show that side of it, show behind the scenes, get people on board with making it more ethical, more kind to the planet and to people. Here's just a few of the images, the kind of things I share so far on my page, but obviously with the grant money, I'll be able to then push my business a lot further forward and be able to make some more garments and show off some more of my designs. So in terms of the grant money, the total that I'd be asking for is £4,922. So machinery is the biggest part of this. So in terms of machinery, I'd be needing an industrial sewing machine, an industrial overlocking machine, and also an industrial heat press. And so they ultimately are the necessities that I need to be able to make garments to the highest of quality, because it's impossible to do it on the machines I've got currently, just because they're not made for using such fabrics, and you just don't get the right finish. And also it really speeds up production time, because you've got the quickest machines, you can do the processes as quickly and easily as possible. And so then also, obviously, I'm wanting to use the best quality fabrics within my collections. So to begin with, I've put down for £1,400 of the money to be spent on fabrics and getting my initial fabrics in. Obviously, they've got a higher price point, but it's better to buy in not in bulk as such, but order as much as possible and order it at the right time, and then I can use that going forward. And I've also just put a little bit of money away for for tools and equipment. So this is just things such as pattern paper, calico to do toiles and stuff, other utensils, just scissors, pins, tape measures, stuff like that, which I do have a collection of my own, but to go into production I would need to add to that. So in terms of my growth, I'm starting out now, so hopefully with the fuel funding I'll be able to develop, and so within the next 6 months I'd like to be able to employ seamstresses and from the local area, and also for them outsource pattern cutting. And I'd also love to be able to employ interns to teach them more. Going on, I'd love to be able to be featured myself in Vogue, not just on behalf of Modern Artisan. And I'd really want my following to grow on social media. And by 2027, I'd really love my brand name to be established and then extend internationally. So 12-month forecast. So in the upcoming months, towards the end of this year, I think I'd have a peak towards December, just with Christmas time. And then that would probably steady off slightly. And then hopefully by this time next year, I'd be in £9,000 revenue by September next year. So yeah, thank you very much for your time, and I hopefully hear from you soon.